Hello. So this probably seems really different and you might hear a bit of an echo, but that is because I am in my new house. So I had to get on here and record a video. Sorry about the jiggling. I'm still trying to work out how to fix up this camera. There we go. There, I should do it for now. Anyway, I'm gonna stop fiddling. Okay, so currently in my new house, I will go through like a sort of house tour when we start unpacking boxes and making sure everything is in their place. I'm noticing that my eyebrows are really thick today, but anyway, life happens, including really bold eyebrows. So, what did I want to say? Well, first of all, I'm really excited that I'm in the new house. We still have a fair bit to move, so we probably won't be, you know, fully settled in until the next couple of weeks. But during those weeks, we're still going to go through getting some more boxes over here from the old place, and you know, on top of that, making sure that it's clean there, so that when we leave, we get all our bond back and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So if any of you have ever rented a unit, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. The exciting things that happen when you rent a unit, that you have to make sure that everything is tidy. I mean, even in a new house, you want to make sure it's tidy. But yeah, because you're renting from someone else, you get the bond back from them, and if it's not crash hot because there are many damages, then of course you won't get your full bond back, and we want our full bond back. So, you know, we're going to make a real habit of making sure that everything is the best that it was, you know, before we moved in. So yesterday was one of those days when we spent a lot of time just cleaning out the unit. Greg's family was here, so they helped us out with that, and I was thinking about recording us cleaning up, but then I thought the camera's going to get in the way and everybody's moving and stuff like that, and I'm probably even going to forget where I left the camera, so may not be the most clever idea in the world, so I'm not going to do that. But you know, at least now you can see the background behind me, the blinds. That's so exciting. But you know that it's a new background, you know that I'm in a new house, so it's all very real. I mean, I could sort of turn you around so you can see what else there is. That's like the corner of the room, and then, you know, there's the bedroom for us. We've got a wall over here, and then eventually when we sort out where my butterfly painting is that I did when I was about 12 years old, then, you know, we'll do, I'll show you, it'll look a lot better, I guess. And then the kitchen area is looking a little bit like a kitchen, you know, things are here, there and everywhere, but that's okay. That's all part of it. We can't expect us to be perfect because nobody is, you know. But yeah, so it really is an exciting time in our lives, and I'm really glad that we're here. Because, you know, initially when we got the house, I wasn't 100% excited. I was kind of shocked as well, because Greg's parents were kind enough to get it for us, and how many parents, you know, go ahead and buy your house. So it was very generous, and we're very grateful that they did that for us. So yeah, as I was saying, you know, I wasn't really that excited then, and then I was shocked when we got it, because there were like 4 or 5 other families that had a look at the house. So, you know, we weren't the only ones, and I didn't know we'd get it. And then we got the phone call the same day that we went to look at the house, and that was in the afternoon, and they said, yep, you've got it. And I, yeah, was swept away. But now that we've got, you know, basic things, you wouldn't even think about basic things in the house that make you, you know, wonder what it's like when you don't have them. But now that we have a fridge, I mean, that's just really helpful, so you can keep all your cold food somewhere. And you know, we were here I think 2 nights before without a fridge, so just imagine what that's like, because I feel like a lot of hotels these days do actually come with fridges, so you kind of don't even think about it. But yeah, we didn't have a fridge, so I was starting to pack things, and I said to Greg, oh, you know, we've got to take some of the food that I had left over from lunch, because I had lunch with my aunt that day, and then we were going to come and stay here that night. And of course, without a fridge, there's nowhere to store that sort of food, and it was like satay beef and rice or something like that, something really delicious. Yeah, so that wasn't you know, something that we were able to bring, and the microwave wasn't here either. Just imagine without a microwave, so I'm not going to be able to heat it up. I mean, luckily we had a dishwasher, but you know, those other two things, when you don't have them, you actually start to realize how much you miss them when you don't have them. So yeah, I just feel a lot more excited now that I'm here. I feel a lot more set up, settled down. I haven't been sleeping the best, and that is probably due to the fact that I'm in a new house. Whenever I'm in a new place, and I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I find it a little bit difficult to go to sleep because I'm so used to, you know, maybe listening to the heater, or maybe listening to the fan, or maybe, you know, where we were before, I think you just knew that you were surrounded by people. And we do have neighbors here, but neighbors in a unit, like, they're all really close knit, so you hear everything, people upstairs, people downstairs. But I don't know, maybe when you're in a unit, you actually, for me anyway, I feel more secure because everyone's together. It's a little bit more annoying, I guess, because we used to hear people upstairs and they would move chairs, so of course that would make a really horrible screeching noise on the top floor, and that was a pain in the butt. But yeah, we don't have that here. All I've heard the last couple of nights, I guess, a bit of creaking in the house. It's probably just sort of getting used to our different temperature, because we had the heater on the last couple of nights. It's so cold here. If you live in Canberra, then you know what I'm talking about. What else was I gonna say? And then there were a couple of dogs barking a couple of days ago, so that was keeping me awake. I don't know, I'm just sort of getting used to being in a different place, but I'll get there. I know for a fact that I will. I'm slowly transitioning in my mind from one place to the other, and yeah, I mean, from what I showed you, I hope that you can share the excitement with me as well. If you have moved or are moving, then you know what it's like when you move from one house to another. It's exciting, but it's also a little bit stressful, especially when you have people helping you out, because you don't know where to put everything, and they don't know where to put everything, and they have to keep asking you. And it's great when you have help, like from family and friends, but you know, help from anybody when you're moving house is always going to be a little bit frustrating at times, because they don't know your mind as well as you do, so they can't read your mind. They need to find out from you. Unfortunately, yesterday Greg was sick, so he wasn't really able to help us move anything, but I let him stay at home just so that he could just get better for today, because the next 3 weeks, I think he told me, his boss is away. So it means that where he's working at the moment, there are only 3 people working, so with one person away, there's only 2, and of course one person in the workshop is going to be a real stressful ordeal. So that's why he said to me, I have to go back to work, I have to work, even if I'm just slightly sick, you know, I just have to make it. And I'm really proud of him, you know, for having that sort of attitude. I think I'm like the opposite in a way, because if I'm sick, I'm sick, like, don't disturb me, I really want to get better. But he's very dedicated to what he does, which is fantastic. And I think having the day at home, and Greg's parents bringing her some cold and flu tablets, he just got better during the day, so that was really good. I apologize for waffling. I think that people in vlogs tend to do a lot of walking around with the camera, and I haven't quite gotten used to that sort of system, because I'm so used to, you know, looking at a camera and doing my makeup, and obviously I'm not doing that right now. I already went ahead and did it, and then of course once I'd done it, then I found where the camera battery was, and I thought, stuff it, I'm not going to be able to do a tutorial. I don't really want to take my makeup off and start all over again today, but I was happy to do a vlog, so just to keep you guys in the loop and all, you know, sort of exciting things going on for us. So next week, or not next week actually, this week, starting from tomorrow, I'm babysitting again, and I think that's really cool. Like having a business, I think, is really important, knowing that you can take on as much as you want. You can do jobs and you can do the business, or you can do the business by itself, or, you know, whatever you like. And whenever I get really good babysitting jobs like the one I've got tomorrow, I definitely take that on board because I can manage it all. My business, like, it has some really good moments, and then the harder times are when I have customers who don't have money at the time, or they just don't have the time to buy things and stuff like that, so I have to push things back a little bit further. I guess that's the difference with a business and a job. But, you know, in saying that, I don't work a job. Like, I just pick up on casual jobs when I can, and then on top of that, I just work this business in the hours that I'm not, you know, working a job, if that makes sense. But I also really love coming on here and doing videos for you guys because, you know, we don't have internet at the moment, and that's another thing I was going to tell you, is that we probably won't have internet until tomorrow, and I will probably upload this tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, I can't do a live video right now, and therefore I'm just doing one of these videos here just to let you guys know. And I didn't really want to wait anyway. I was kind of excited and just wanted to share with you what's been going on and stuff like that. You guys might already know, especially if you're following me through social media, you know that I'm moving house, or in the process of moving house. And the great thing is we'll be out of our old place by the 4th of August, which is when our new lease is. So, like, that's when we would have to renew our new lease to rent at the place we were at. I'm kind of just going all over the place and explaining things, but I really want to tell you guys that I think it's a great thing when you start out where you're by yourself, or you know, even when you're starting out with a new person in your life. It's a good thing to learn how to, first of all, it's a good thing to learn how to share a house. Now, I've had some up and down experiences sharing houses, and I think some were harder than others depending on which sort of people I, you know, was living with. But I also think that there is a certain time when you share a house, and then there's a certain time when you rent by yourself or with your significant other. When I was sharing a house, I started off, you know, I'd just come from staying with my aunt. So staying with a family member is also a little bit tricky in some ways. You'll also understand by me explaining that they are really lovely people until you live with them, and then when you live with them, you start to realize, oh, okay, it's a little bit harder. And I'm not saying that the person you're living with is hard. It's the same for you, like both ways. You're going to have different ways that you do things. You're going to have different sort of routines that they're trying to get used to, and ways that you sort of share the time together. Because, you know, when I was living with my aunt, I was studying Certificate 3 and, was I studying diploma when I was with her? No, I think it was just mainly Certificate 3 in Children's Services. So I was spending a lot of time studying in my bedroom, and then I'd come out and I'd talk to her, but I don't know, I got the feeling that sometimes I didn't talk enough. But the thing is, if I spent too much time talking, then I wouldn't get much time studying, because as you can probably tell by this vlog, once I start, I find it very hard to stop. And I also want to give people that sort of quality time. And when you live with someone, people expect you to sit with them and talk with them, especially in the older age. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just sort of how they think and stuff like that. That's just how they roll, and they expect you to respect them. Of course you're respecting them, but it goes both ways. Like, you want them to respect your time as well. And then after that, I moved into a share house with 2 people. So, you know, that was something new for me as well. The house was owned by my friend's parents. They were really lovely people. She was a really lovely girl, but also very difficult to deal with at times. She had Asperger's, and if you guys have ever met somebody with Asperger's, they are, again, lovely people to hang out with. Like, you can have a laugh with them, and she was very funny. That's kind of how we got along, was our sense of humor. And I think that I met her when I was studying at CIT. So she was studying, oh no, that's right, her friend was studying the same thing as me, and I met her through her friend. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, so we shared a house, and yeah, she had, having Asperger's, she was probably in her early 20s, but her mind, and this is nothing against people having Asperger's, it's just understanding sort of how they think and they understand things. So her mindset was more like a 14-year-old. So me having a full-time job, being in childcare services, and her with her companion dog, and then another guy living with us and his dog, it was a little bit hard to juggle it all. And you know, there were times when I was getting her to help me with chores, because really all she wanted to do was wake up, go to class, and then come back home and sleep. Like, that's sort of the lifestyle that she wanted. And isn't that a great lifestyle? Like, it's so easy, but at the same time, it doesn't get anything done. And, you know, we didn't really, no, we didn't have a dishwasher. Thank God we have one here. But we didn't have a dishwasher in that house. And I was spending a lot of time like cleaning the place. None of us had really sat down. We didn't really know about the whole idea of cleaning up a house. Like, we didn't sit down and say, hey, you know, let's hire somebody with a bit of our money, like all 3 of us, to clean the house so that we don't even have to think about it, because there were 2 dogs in the house. Okay, so Daniel's dog was for him because he was blind in one eye. And of course, being in his situation, you would understand it was very hard, because he had to rely on the one eye, you know, to make sure he saw what he was doing and all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, with Sarah, her struggles was through Asperger's, not wanting to help out, because her priorities were, I have the dog, so I need to do what the dog wants. I need to feed the dog. I need to make sure all this stuff is done for the dog. Don't worry about anybody else in the house, you know what I mean? So you learn that when you share houses. And I remember talking to Greg about it the other day, about how I said it was a struggle, because he's also shared houses as well. So we both know what that is like. And yeah, it is hard. But at the same time, if you don't learn how to do it, and I feel that if you go straight from your parents' house and you go into a new house, you don't really know what's out there. Like, I think it's really all about socializing, and it's all about knowing what to look after when, and all that sort of stuff. And you do learn that when you share a house. The other thing I was going to say is that after that, I moved back in with my aunt for a little bit longer, because I was just trying to find my feet. And then I went back to, no, I didn't go back to anywhere. I moved in with a girl from childcare, a lady, and well, she wasn't really much of a lady, but anyway, I can honestly say that, yeah, it was great at first, and then it was a struggle with her too. She, you know, was making up all these rules and saying that I wasn't doing enough of this and enough of that. And you learn that again in share housing, about who does what, and I felt a really difficult time in my life to be you know, told off about what I needed to clean when evidently she wasn't doing it herself. So why would you listen to someone who tells you what to do when they don't do it themselves? You know what I'm saying? Do you know where I'm getting at with that? It's really not fair. And at the same time, because I was basically letting her know that this is something that we need to discuss together, rather than, you know, you calling me up while I'm on the way to work or something odd like that. She didn't seem to want to do that. She found it very hard to talk to me. But then when I was out of the house doing things, she'd start making up rules saying that I wasn't allowed to touch her fridge anymore. I wasn't allowed to touch her washing machine, when evidently we had made a rule at the beginning that there were certain things that we could share, and I was more than happy to buy a microwave that we could share, but she told me not to because apparently there was another one somewhere else from one of her family members, and then she wasn't getting a hold of that because they weren't ready to get it. And you know, when you have a fridge, again, as I was saying before, it's really hard to keep something, because especially if you want to heat it up later, how are you going to heat it up if you don't have a microwave? So I was basically waiting for grass to grow, and I knew for a fact that I could buy myself my own microwave. And then we ended up having two in the house. She had her own and I have my own, which is really weird, because again, if you're in a share house, you just use the same one and just sort of keep it clean and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, long story short, I stayed there for maybe a year, and then possibly I moved back in with my aunt. I can't remember that too much, but when I came across this last building that I've been in, so not this one, but the one I was in before when I was doing a lot of my tutorials, that was fantastic for an early couple. So me being by myself, it was great in the sense that the security was amazing. There were so many people that lived there that were initially quite friendly. Well, that's how it started out anyway. And then if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm not always sociable if I don't want to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'd rather spend time being sociable in my own space than going out and using someone else's, sort of like there was a common room so everyone could use it. But when it came to things like everyone cooking together or dinners together, I hardly ever did that. And it wasn't being rude, it was just because quite frankly, I preferred to cook at home. I preferred to clean up my own mess. And you know that if you're in a big area, there's a lot of people who have to sort of chip in and stuff like that. But it was a really great place, as I said, as a beginner. So my mum was really happy with me moving in there, even though I was going to be by myself for a little bit. And then, what was I going to say? Oh, that's right. And then I met Greg, and he you know, started off as a really great friend of mine. We used to hang out a lot together. Yeah, we did actually. We were really good friends. And then I guess lo and behold, I got to know him a bit better, knowing that he was sharing a house, and that was good for a certain amount of time. And then just as myself, you get to a point where enough is enough. You'd like to move in with someone, especially because we were, sorry about that, we were in a really sort of serious relationship. It was time for him to move in with me. And the security guard, I mean, look, let's admit it, we're not all perfect. Sometimes we do silly things. I had him come over, and we didn't tell the security guard or anything, because I didn't really know how long Greg was staying. Some nights I just want him to come and stay with me because I was having a bad day or something. And it's really crazy to think that, you know, someone like that would really do that for you. He's a very special person, Greg is. But you know, we let the security guard know, and then soon after that, pretty much, Greg moved in with me. So it became a place for two of us. but it was certainly not a place for any more than 2 people in a unit, and it was hard to have people over because of space. We'd have a couple of people over for dinners every now and again, but it didn't really feel like home. It felt like someone else's, if that makes sense. So it was a bit of a struggle for that. But it was a great place for the time that I was there. I learnt so much about being on my own. I learnt so much about being with a man. And then while we were there, during the time we were there, we got married. And here we are, you know, at our new house, and it's really exciting stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right, I'm gonna sign off. I hope that you get to see this video tomorrow. I'll do my best to get it uploaded. And feel free to share stories about, you know, when you used to share houses, or if you are sharing houses, and sort of the struggles that you want to overcome, or struggles that you've been able to overcome. Because there are, when you're sharing a house with more than 1 or 2 people, people think that they can get away with things. Some people want to pay more, you know, some people are able to pay more, some people want to pay less, and sometimes it's like a vicious battle, and you have to go back to your sort of tenants agreement and make sure that everybody is on the same page. Have a great rest of the day. Bye guys.